Hi, Real Recapped here. Today, we're going to recap the thriller movie from 2020 called Unhinged. So without any further delay, let's get started. The film starts on a rainy night where a man named Tom is sitting in his pickup truck outside a house. It's 4 o'clock and he's taking pills, and there's clearly something wrong with him. He calmly gets out of the truck and goes to the door with a hammer and a fuel can in his hands. He starts breaking down the door, and when the owners try to stop him, Tom bashes them with the hammer and knocks them out. He then sprays gasoline everywhere and lights the house on fire before driving away in his truck. The next morning, some news channels are showing clips of people getting involved in road rage. This roadside madness is causing accidents and injuries, and it seems to be getting worse. Rachel, on the other hand, is woken up by a phone call from her lawyer, Andy. He explains that Rachel's ex-husband is trying to get the house from the court. Rachel is concerned about this, so she wants to meet up with Andy that day to discuss everything. Right then, her son Kyle comes there and complains that he will be late for school again. Rachel starts getting ready, while Kyle has breakfast with Rachel's younger brother Fred, who also lives in the house with his girlfriend. Their family is having some financial problems, and Rachel is pretty much late every day. On the way to school, she is practicing spelling some words with Kyle. There are traffic jams everywhere, so Rachel decides to take the freeway, even though Kyle doesn't want her to. They are cruising on the freeway when Kyle's dad calls him to explain that he can't take Kyle to the football game because he's busy. Kyle is disappointed, and Rachel feels bad for him. Her day is not going too well, and it is made even worse when she receives a phone call from her biggest client, Deborah. She tells Rachel that she's fired for being late again. Rachel is into the makeup industry, and this is a big blow for her. She blames the heavy traffic for all of this. She's fed up, and she just decides to go back to the local streets, and so she gets off the freeway. She stops at a red light behind a truck. As the light turns green, the truck doesn't move, and this makes Rachel mad, so she honks at the truck. When she stops at the next red light, the truck pulls up next to her, and Tom is sitting inside. He says that she shouldn't have honked so violently. Rachel explains how he wasn't moving, so she had to get his attention. Tom says he's having a bad time, but he is sorry for being zoned out and causing problems for others. However, he also wants an apology from Rachel. Rachel, on the other hand, says she did nothing wrong and doesn't apologize. This response makes Tom extremely mad, and he loses his nice guy temper. He tells Rachel that she's going to regret this self-centered attitude pretty soon. When the light turns green, Rachel starts driving, but Tom pulls up right in front of her, and he is acting like a madman. Somehow Rachel manages to get onto a smaller street and get away from the crazy guy. She's scared by all of this, but still tries to cheer up her son before dropping him off at school. She then calls Andy and tells him every crazy thing that happened that morning. Andy agrees to meet her in half an hour for breakfast. However, Rachel is low on gas, so she stops at a gas station and fills up her car. She leaves her phone in the car and goes inside to buy some things from the shop. After paying, she sees Tom's truck parked right behind her car. She informs the lady at the counter about the whole situation, and a man agrees to help her. He goes outside with her, and she slowly drives away from Tom. That's when Tom does something extremely violent and runs over the man who is helping Rachel. He's still following her, and she has to drive through heavy traffic to get away from him. It's the rush hour, and she gets stuck in the traffic, and Tom starts ramming her minivan from behind. She somehow gets out of there, but Tom is still after her, and he gets right next to her car. She's horrified to see her phone in Tom's hands. After this, Rachel goes through incoming traffic to get away from Tom. She almost hits someone and stops at a parking lot to catch her breath. Her phone is not password protected, and she is extremely scared. At the restaurant, Tom meets Andy, who's waiting for Rachel. Tom says that he's Rachel's friend, and she sent him to apologize to Andy for being late. He starts asking Andy some questions about Rachel, and then he offers to call Rachel from Andy's phone. Andy gives his phone to Tom, who makes a call to a phone that he left behind in Rachel's vehicle. She's confused to see the phone and hears Andy's voice on the other end. Andy says that he's sitting with Tom, and they're both waiting for her. Then Tom grabs the phone and tells Rachel that she needs to be punished so that she understands the consequences of her words. Andy knows something's wrong, but Tom hits him in the face with a mug. Tom hates divorce lawyers and asks Rachel to say some final words to her best friend Andy. She doesn't know what the hell is going on, and Tom just simply stabs Andy in the neck and kills him in front of everyone. Rachel is shocked to find out about Andy's death. Tom tells her that things are only going to get worse for her. He then shares all of Rachel's contacts with her. He asks her to make a choice about who will die next. She chooses herself, but Tom says she has to choose someone else, or he will just kill her entire family. He even threatens to take out her son Kyle, and this breaks Rachel. She ends up choosing Deborah because she fired her. After the call ends, Rachel calls 911 and tells them everything. Some officers get to Deborah's house and make sure that she's safe. Meanwhile, Fred is watching the news when he hears some noise. He picks up a knife and goes to the room calling for his girlfriend. That's when he sees Tom, who is holding the injured girl. Tom tells Fred that his sister is a bad person, and that's why her family is going to get hurt. He says that he's always been used by other people, so today, he's going to cause as much harm as possible, and he's not afraid of the consequences. He then pushes Fred's girlfriend into the knife that Fred is holding, and she dies. Rachel, on the other hand, gets to Kyle's school when she receives a picture showing Fred with Tom. Tom wants Rachel to take Kyle away from the school as soon as possible, or Fred will die, so she goes inside the school and starts calling for her son, while Tom pours some lighter fluid on Fred and asks him to write a letter. Back at school, Rachel explains the whole situation to the principal, who hesitantly lets Kyle leave with his mother. When she finally leaves the school, she calls Tom, who wants her to put the phone on speaker. He then tells Fred to read the letter. The letter says that Rachel is responsible for all these deaths, and she's also responsible for what is going to happen to her brother. Tom is about to burn Fred when all of a sudden cops get there. They want Tom to surrender, but he lights Fred on fire and tries to escape. The officer shoots Tom in the shoulder before trying his best to save Fred. Rachel, on the other hand, is having a breakdown thinking that her brother is dead. Tom calls her again and says that Kyle is next. Rachel is done with this game, so she breaks the phone and starts driving away. On their way, Kyle tells her that they have to get rid of the tablet, otherwise Tom can track them by simply using the phone. They look around for the tablet and find it hidden under the driver's seat. They use the tablet to find Rachel's phone, and to their horror, the phone is nearby. This is when Rachel spots her neighbor's minivan ahead on the road. She passes the minivan to get close to a police car, but Tom sees them. He pushes the police car, and it causes a multi-vehicle crash on the freeway. He then starts following Rachel, who is calling 911. The dispatcher tells her that she has to hide because all the police cars are busy due to the huge accident. To make things worse, the tablet also dies. They are on their own, so Rachel decides to go to her old family home that is now empty. Tom is on her trail, and he's driving recklessly, causing all sorts of accidents. Rachel manages to get away from him, and she gets to the house. She asks Kyle to hide in the attic after alerting the authorities with the silent alarm. Meanwhile, Tom is driving around the neighborhood looking for Rachel's vehicle, and he finally finds it. He's about to get out of his car when Rachel crashes her mother's car into the minivan. She gets out of her car with a golf club in hand, but Tom isn't in the vehicle. He grabs her from behind and tells her that she will suffer for the rest of her life due to her choices. He knocks her out and goes inside the house to find Kyle. He calls for the boy and pretends to be a police officer. Kyle is tempted to go outside because he's scared, but he stays put. Tom is looking around the house, but it is a big house, and he doesn't know where Kyle could be. That's when Kyle accidentally knocks out something and causes a lot of noise. Tom figures out that Kyle is upstairs, so he starts checking the upper portion. The police are also entering the neighborhood after getting the distress call. Kyle is freaking out inside the attic, but Rachel gets to him first. She's trying to calm him down, but Tom drags her outside and beats her up. Kyle hits Tom in the arm, but he too gets overpowered by the huge man. They both try their best to take down Tom, but he throws Rachel on the bed and then grabs a cable to strangle Kyle. Rachel still has her scissors in her pocket, so she grabs them and stabs Tom in the eye. She makes sure that Tom is dead. When the police arrive, they take their statement. An officer approaches Rachel to tell her that Fred survived and he's in the hospital. This news finally gives them a reason to smile, and they hug each other. After giving their statement, they are driving back home when they stop at a red light. They're still in shock and try to drive away, but almost hit a car. Rachel wants to smash her car horn, but she doesn't this time. The film ends with the minivan driving away from the neighborhood. And that wraps up our recap for the movie Unhinged. Feel free to drop a comment below as to what we should recap next. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to turn on notifications. Thank you for watching, and see you next time on another Real Recapped.